The wind is screaming, snow is falling sideways, hitting my face like shards of glass. I can't see more than a few feet ahead. I'm completely alone. No food, no signal, no help. Trapped in the middle of a deadly snowstorm, with no way out. Just me, my freezing hands, and whatever I can do to survive. Out here, failure means death. No one's coming. No one even knows where I am. And this storm, it's only getting worse. I look around, and there's nothing. No shelter, no trail, no sound except the violent howl of the wind. Every step is a fight. Every breath burns in my lungs. The snow is relentless. It's like the mountain itself is trying to bury me alive. In this moment, one thing becomes crystal clear. If I don't build a shelter, and fast, I'm not making it through the night. The clock isn't ticking, it's screaming. I've got maybe 2 hours before the cold winds. Survival mode kicks in. My mind scans for solutions. Shelter, fire, warmth. That's it. Nothing else matters. I start searching, eyes darting, looking for anything I can use. Dead wood, pine branches, fallen trees. But the snow, it's deep, waist deep. Everything is buried. Every step is exhausting. My gloves are soaked, fingers numb, and every movement drains precious energy. Energy I can't replace because there's no food, no backup, just me. I finally spot a cluster of pine trees, thick, low-hanging branches, a natural windbreak. Perfect. This is where I'll fight, where I'll make my stand against the storm. I drop to my knees and start clearing snow, hands shaking, breath shallow. I drag branches, break frozen logs, pile them as fast as I can. The shelter starts to take shape, rough, imperfect, but better than nothing. The wind roars. The storm isn't letting up. This is a race between me and the cold, and only one of us is walking away. The shelter is holding, barely. But now comes the hardest part. Fire. Out here. In this brutal cold. Without it, the shelter means nothing. Without fire, the cold creeps in. Silently, mercilessly, until your body just shuts down. I reach into my pocket, fingers trembling, and pull out my ferro rod, my last hope. But here's the brutal truth. Starting a fire in snow during a blizzard is a nightmare. The snow melts into water. The water soaks everything. Every spark feels like it vanishes into the wind. I start digging deeper. I need dry ground. I clear the snow down to the frozen dirt, creating a small pocket, a place where the fire can breathe. But then, another problem. Where's the tinder? Everything out here is wet, frozen. I crawl under low branches, searching desperately. Fingers scrape against bark, searching for anything dry. And there it is, birch bark, curled, peeling, hiding under a fallen tree. Nature's gift, even soaking wet. Birch bark lights. I scrape it with my knife, making thin shavings, as fine as I can. I pile them carefully, shielded from the wind with my body. Next, tiny sticks. Dead twigs snapped from the inside of fallen logs. The only place dry wood survives in this nightmare. Hands numb, lips cracking. Every second feels heavier. It's now or never. I strike the ferro rod. Sparks fly. The first one dies. Second one, nothing. Third, a flicker. The birch catches for a split second, then smoke, then flame. Fire. I almost can't believe it. That tiny flame, in this endless frozen wasteland, suddenly feels like the most powerful thing on earth. I feed it carefully. Sticks, then thicker branches, hands shaking, breathing heavy. The flame grows. Bigger, stronger, until it roars. The heat hits my face. The sound of crackling, fire, against the silence of the snow. It's the sound of life. Out here. Fire isn't just warmth, it's survival, it's hope, it's everything. The fire's alive, but the storm isn't done, not even close. Outside the shelter, the wind screams like a wild animal. Snow crashes against the walls I built, like the mountain itself is trying to crush me. I sit, Knees against my chest, staring into the flames. The heat barely reaches my frozen fingers. Every time the fire pops, it sends a shower of sparks that bounce against the walls of pine. This, right here, this tiny pocket of warmth, is the only thing standing between me and the cold grave waiting outside. But the fight's not over. The shelter groans. The roof sags under the weight of the snow. I keep pushing it up, reinforcing it with branches, kicking the snow off from the inside. The wind finds every tiny gap, sending icy needles stabbing through the walls. My sleeping bag? There is none. My bed? A layer of pine boughs over frozen dirt. Every breath creates clouds of steam, but even that starts to freeze on my beard, on my jacket, turning me into part of this frozen world. Sleep? Impossible. If I close my eyes too long, I won't open them again. Hours crawl by. I feed the fire like it's a living thing, because it is. Every 20 minutes, I break more branches, snap frozen logs, drag anything dry enough to burn. My hands, numb. My face feels like stone. I curl tighter, listening, not to the wind, not to the storm, but to my own body. Shivers are a good sign. Shivering means the body is still fighting. But when the shivers stop, that's when the real danger begins. I know the signs. I know what's coming. This is the edge. This is the line between life and death. Then something changes. The wind softer, the noise less violent. Through the cracks in the wall, a faint glow, light. Warning. I push open the door, just a gap between two logs, and the world. Outside is unreal, a frozen white paradise, silent, still, beautiful, and deadly. The storm is over. I step out. Legs weak, body aching, but breathing. I made it. Against everything, I made it. The shelter stands behind me, a rough pile of branches that, for one brutal night, was the difference between life and death. Out here, survival isn't about strength. It's not about gear. It's about mindset, the will to fight, when everything around you is trying to break you. Out here, the only way out is through. But survival doesn't end just because the storm does. Out here, the aftermath can be just as deadly. I look around. The landscape is transformed into a trap. Deep snow hides every hazard. One wrong step, and I could fall into a crevice. Twist an ankle, or worse. There's no trail, no path back. My tracks, completely erased by the storm. I'm standing in a white void, where every direction looks the same. And that's when reality sinks in. Getting through the night was just the first fight. Now, I've got to get out of here, because the cold, it's not done with me yet. Hypothermia doesn't care that the wind stopped. I'm soaked. I'm exhausted, and if I don't keep moving, I won't stay warm. I start walking, each step heavy, legs trembling under the weight of fatigue. The snow swallows my boots. Each foot sinks knee-deep, sometimes waist-deep. Every time I lift my foot, it feels like dragging cement. My lungs burn, my lips split open from the dry, frozen air. But stopping isn't an option. Out here, stopping is dying. I scan the horizon, looking for signs, tree lines, valleys, a break in the ridge. Anything that tells me which way leads home and which leads deeper into nowhere. I trust the sun. Even through the haze, I can see where it rises. East. That's my way out, or at least, I hope it is. As I push forward, the snow begins to change. Softer in some places, harder in others. Suddenly, whomp. My leg crashes through a hidden hole, a buried creek, frozen over but weak from the storm. Ice shatters. My leg plunges into freezing water. A shock, like electricity, runs through my body. I scramble, kicking, dragging myself out. But now, the danger doubles. My boots, soaked. My pants, frozen stiff within minutes. Every step from here drains warmth faster than I can replace. I know what that means. Time just ran out. Now, it's a race against my own freezing body. I rip off a branch, strip the bark, wrap it around my leg. Not perfect, but it's insulation. Keep moving. Stay moving. Stopping isn't an option. My hands slap my chest, arms swinging. Anything to pump blood back to my fingers. And just as I start thinking the worst, I hear it. A sound so small, it's so faint, I almost miss it. Water, running water, a creek. And where there's a creek, it flows downhill. Downhill means valleys. Valleys mean roads, towns, life. It's not a guarantee, but it's the first real sign of hope since this nightmare began. I follow the sound, fighting the terrain, sliding down snow-packed slopes, crawling over fallen trees, stumbling, slipping, getting back up. The creek grows louder, faster, and then there it is, an open channel in the snow, dark water cutting through the white. I follow it, step after brutal step, until the trees begin to thin. The ground starts to slope down. The air somehow feels warmer, or maybe that's just desperation playing tricks on my mind. And then, in the distance, a shape, a straight line, man-made, a road, half buried, in snow, but real, solid, my ticket home. I collapse onto it, face down, breathing like I've just finished a marathon in hell, but I can't stop. Not yet. Roads mean people, but not always right away. I push myself back up, start walking, staggering. Miles feel like forever. And then, salvation. Headlights. Faint, far, but real. I wave my arms, jump, shout, whatever my cracked voice can muster. The truck slows, stops, a door opens, a voice, muffled by the rush of blood in my ears, asks if I'm okay. I try to answer. I don't even know what words come out, but it doesn't matter. I'm safe. As the truck rolls away from that frozen nightmare, heat blasting from the vents, I stare out the window, back at the mountain, back at the place that tried to kill me. And one truth burns into my mind like fire. Nature doesn't care who you are, doesn't care how strong, how smart, how prepared you think you are. Out there, it's not you versus the wilderness. It's you versus yourself, your doubts, your fears, your limits. Out there, the moment you give up, you lose. But if you fight, really fight, with every breath, every step, you just might make it out alive.